Hey everybody, and thanks for watching Woodcrest Bonsai. Today I am going to take this Ilex Shillings that I dug out of an approximately 45-year-old hedge and root prune it and repot it into this new bonsai pot. First time it'll be in a bonsai pot. Right now it's in just a mud tray that you use to mix mortar in. And as you can see, the trunk is quite massive, even though it's oriented in the mud tray like this. This is my planned front, more like that, so to be a slanting style. I've allowed these two suckers at the base to grow, and my plan with those is that they're going to be gone. But as I'm doing the repotting, I'm hoping I can get down in here and cut them away with enough roots so then I can replant them as individuals and continue to grow them on. As far as the rest of the tree, I would really love to have the first main branch coming out of the trunk, obviously, but I don't, so I've got this branch here, and it's really way too high. So I'm going to chop it probably somewhere in here and promote just this little tiny bit to come out into this space here for the first main branch. Then I have a back branch, which I want the pad to be somewhere in here, this stuff here. But it's actually coming from the trunk way, way down. So part of the plan for today is, once again, this is the front, and you can still kind of see the little branch that holds all that growth. So I'm going to hide that completely, going to wire that up like that, so that from the front it will appear as though the foliage is coming from the main trunk, somewhere in here, and you'll never know unless you peek behind it that it's actually coming from way, way down here. And I've cut off numerous low branches that you can see the cut paste. Down in here, it's still wanting to sucker from the base, but that's no big deal. And then once we get to the top, I've allowed the top to grow quite a bit. Obviously, I like my trees to have, fairly dense pads. So all this growth up here will be modified some. I do have another branch right here that kind of then comes up, but I think I can promote some of this to still come down into here. So we'll have first main branch, back branch about here, and then the second main branch coming into here. If we look inside here, you can see that at some point in this plant's life it got a massive trunk chop. And I have about 15 of these. So here's another one. Here's another one. Here's another one. And another one. And they all have that same chop. They've all been cut. Probably got too big in the ground and someone just whacked off. Oh, good. This trunk is at least an inch and a quarter, inch and a half. So then I've got some small incidental stuff right here. Obviously this is going to be the apex of the tree, and then pad it out even more. But right now I'm really more concerned about having it live. It's the end of January, but it's been cool enough, and if you look, there's no new growth. It's still completely dormant, so I should be able to do the root pruning and get it into the new pot without too much problems for the tree. So there's some things I want to do before I even attempt to take it out of this pot. And one of those is to wire this guy into place so it's hidden. And actually that's about it. Then once it's in the other pot, I can work on some of this top. I may just really give it just a slight pruning because I don't want to do too much too soon after the root pruning. This guy was root pruned severely when I dug it up. And it's in a mix of perlite and the expanded clay that you use for hydroponics. I didn't have the ability to get some of the soil components that I normally use, so I just went to the hydroponics place. Perlite is readily available, so that's the mix that it's in. There is also some ambient soil still around the base of the roots, but it's responded beautifully with growth. I dug this up last winter, right about the same time. My car could only hold about 3 trees, and I dug up about 20, so I was there about 2 weeks. So that's the deal. So the first thing is to wire this guy into place so he's hidden. And I'm going to do this in situ here. I'm not going to take it over to my workbench because I am afraid it's just too heavy. I may actually have to drop it to the ground to actually do the root pruning and cut the suckers. I'm just not quite sure. I actually do have a little bit more. I cleared off this portion of my bench. I have a little bit more, so I could possibly move the pot, over here, and then I've got a place to work right here. Get my tray and try to make it as easy on myself as I can. So I'm going to set up the tripod and then get started wiring this guy. I've got the camera set up so that this is going to be the eventual front. So right now you can see this guy peeking out here, and I want to hide it behind there. So I have my piece of wire, and I'm not trying for anything else other than just moving it that half an inch or inch or so to keep it from being seen. That's all I want to do with this guy. I had actually thought of drilling a very small hole and then bringing it up and fusing it to the trunk with like a nail or a screw, but I've decided against that, at least for now. And this is pretty heavy duty wire. I think it's 5 millimeter. Because Shillings is very soft wood, and I'll be showing you some of that a little bit later on this guy. But it's also very brittle. Once you get to about the thickness of a pencil or a little bit more, it's very difficult to bend. It's just not pliable. What am I doing here? This branch splits into two, and I'm not quite sure. You can't see it because I want to be able to look in the viewfinder and make sure I've hidden the thing. And I may not need to even wire the rest of the top of this thing. This branch is very vigorous, so it's going to be reduced considerably. So I'm not sure I really need to wire any of the rest of it. So let's just go from here. Just try to bring it up and hide it from view. Okay, it's just still tiny little bit of it showing. Whenever I'm bending a branch, I always have my fingers or my hands on the place where I'm bending so I can feel it beginning to crack, if in fact it is going to crack. Alright, I think that is mission accomplished. It's just peeking out right there, but from the front, which is where the viewfinder is, you can no longer see it. So the next step is to put it onto this tray. So I have the tray here. This is my work tray that I use quite a bit. And then remove some of that old soil. And then try to get the two suckers severed with enough roots where they can both survive as single trees and I can grow them on. And I'm just going to stick them, and I guess I have to go back here. These two suckers right here. I'm just going to stick them in water for now. The priority is going to be getting this baby into the pot as quickly as possible so that the roots are not exposed. I'm going to try to get them exposed for the smallest amount of time. So I actually also need to prepare the pot. It has two very nice large drain holes in it. Whoops! So, you didn't know that Florida was prone to earthquakes. Either that or my tripod just malfunctioned and the phone just went boink. Oh well. My production quality sucks. For some unknown reason, if I try to edit that out, then YouTube, for some reason, if I edit that out and I export that file from my video editing software, then Google says they can't process it. So that just stays in. Sorry. So anyway, I think I'm now going to put it on pause for real. Prepare the pot with the macrame mesh, and then get myself a bucket of water so I can put the two suckers in there. Hopefully they'll have enough roots, and then repot this guy. So I finished with the drain holes, and just wanted to show you, if you're new, I try to put the wire through the macrame holes that are as close to the outside of the drain hole as possible. That secures it much better. So just wanted to show you that. And so now I'm going to move the camera a little bit, and I'm ready to try to pull this guy out of the old pot and put it into the new one. I've got my container of water for the two suckers. And I have my tools. So I think I'm ready. So as they say in the vernacular, here goes nothing. Actually, just bring it over like this. Because I like to save my soil. You can see the expanded clay. It's almost all that expanded clay. But it seems to have rooted out quite nicely. And now can I... Alright, there we go. Get the tray off. Put this guy like this. Get my root hook. Start in there. Rooted quite nicely, because now I've got the front like this, and the front one's actually at a diagonal. I may need to prune some of these roots here to get it in the pot. So can I remove these guys with enough roots survive on their own. Is that what we're talking about right there? I believe. So let me get my sensitive feathers. See if I can't sever that big. Come on. Certainly looks like what I'm after. Maybe get the trunk splitters in there. Probably too obsessed with saving the suckers. Just concentrate on the main tree. I swear that is the trunk to the suckers. Or maybe it isn't. I'm chopping away something I don't need to chop. It's a beautiful, cool, cloudy day, so I'm not really concerned about the roots getting dried out too much. Okay, there went one, and it has one tiny little root, so probably not going to work. And if that's the case, then let's just cut this other one off and just discount them. Now that has roots, all right. Some very nice roots. The other one, not so much. Need to get them. The first one kept the second one from getting into the water. The second one should survive. First one, probably not so much. I need to concentrate on this part here. So let's see what we're up against as far as getting it into the pot. Of course, I've got some other trees of desmodium sitting there. So let's take the whole tray and move it over, and then move the pot over. And now we can kind of see what we're up against here. Okay, that's not bad. That is not bad. You know, typically I like to put my trees a third of the way from one side, but that may not be the case for this potting. The subsequent repottings will probably, I'll be focused more on that. So I want to take some off of the bottom. It's a little too high. Oh, look at that. You know what these are? Those are palm roots, because part of the hedge, there was a cabbage palm growing right next to the plants. So when I dug these guys up, I brought a whole bunch of cabbage palm roots with me because they were just intertwined with the shillings. All these kind of golden ones are all cabbage palm. Don't see many shilling roots at the bottom at all, so it should sit a little lower now that I've done this. These are some shillings roots that I'm cutting away right now. And you can see the old ambient soil, but I'm going to leave that. I'm not going to take all that away. Okay. So let's change. Camera. See what we got. Why is it so hot? What is it? Take the soil out of here. And this may also be another necessary second, repotting. So how does that look? Well, so much for me hiding this. If this is the front, I need to skin the whole thing. Which means it looks like I need to lop this, and these roots are pretty much dead anyway. So time to get the loppers. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with that. I do want the tree to be more upright like this. So I've got my soil, and I'm just going to dump a bunch of it in there. And push it under there so the tree stays more upright like that. Then we need some more over here. And this is a different mix than what it was in. No more of the expanded clay that you used for. This is basically lava rock and Chattahoochee stone. And that's it. That works pretty good for me. Okay, come over here. My chopstick. And it's a little higher than what I wanted, but it just needs to get back into some soil. And on subsequent root prunings, I can lower it, or conversely, get a deeper pot. Yeah, that's probably a better idea, right? If your pot is too high, if your plant is riding too high in the pot, just get a deeper pot. And when I went to buy this pot, I just sort of had to eyeball it. So I thought it would be pretty good. It's good as far as length. And it probably actually will end up being very nice. I'm always so critical. Alright, that's looking pretty good. I ran out of soil. I didn't run out of soil, but I didn't bring enough with me in the bucket. So that's looking pretty good. Right. Get it more up like that. So back onto pause and fill this side of the pot. This side is good, but I need to fill the other side with more soil. Hopefully this will be enough. Looks like plenty. And there's, in the back here, the roots are fairly high right there. So I think I'm going to go back there. Okay, well, I think we're done. I think I'm done. So now I'm going to water it in. In fact, I can just do that right now. So I move the camera a little bit. It's like, whoop. When you put it on pause and you move the camera, it's like, whoa. So waters got in really well, and I think it's just going to sit right here on this bench. It was about 3 feet to the west, but this is actually a little bit shadier spot. It will get sun a little later in the day than it was getting, so that's probably good. The roots that were there were healthy. There were not a tremendous amount of roots, especially on this side. So that, now that the fresh soil, that'll just give it a chance to root out into that area. And I'm going to have to do it because I really want the first pad in here. So I'm just going to chop this guy. And you know, I didn't even realize, but I can wire this guy like that and then bring this into here even more. And I've already got the beginnings of a decent pad. It'll be fooling the eyeball because if I take this and then bring it out here, the pad will end up being in here, even though that branch is coming from the back. And then I think I'll just go in the back again. The back branch needs a good clipping. This is just a little off the top kind of clipping. I can produce the pad at a later date. And I want to take some of the foliage off because I cut quite a few roots. And there's a little tiny branch right here that's going in the back. That's that right there. So that could end up helping the depth of the tree. You have to be very careful. If I'm going to attempt to wire that puppy in place. And then the top, what do I do with the top? I want this branch right here. See, that's all this. See, that's this branch. That's this branch. And it's really weird because it comes up and then out, but I don't think there's much I'm going to do about that. This is that branch in the back. And then I think I'm just going to take it to about, well, I want it to be a slanting trunk, so I'm not going to go to that. To about here, take it to here. So I've got my apex now. I don't know if you can see it. Can you see it? Where's my hand? No, it's way up there. Too far up there. And it's also very difficult because of the background of the large trees. So I've got a very large branch right here, which can be replaced with smaller stuff. So I'm going to take it off right there. And try to get some directional growth off, so anything that's going back against the grain. Cut this guy like that. And we've got a couple parallel branches. Actually, we have 3 right in a row. Boom, boom, boom. But for now, I'm just going to shorten them. I may even actually shorten future first main branch. I suppose I could attempt to bring this guy out. In a perfect world, we get a sprout down in here. So let's just do this with that, what will be the second main branch. I'm a very classic first branch, second branch, back branch kind of guy. And we've got stuff in here that we don't need. We want to have space in there. And that guy is also just, there's no reason for him. And I apologize for the poor background, but there's no way I was going to be able to lift this thing over to my workbench. Okay, so there's the future second main branch. And I think I may have to work on bringing the back branch even further behind the main trunk. But I think that's for a future day. And I think I'll wire this guy into place right now. And then I'll go get my hardboard backdrop and put it behind the tree so we can see what it looks like better versus all the foliage that's basically obscuring it right now. Well, my board is not big enough, so I've got the camera held still on the tripod. But there we go. So we have what will be our first main branch. The back branch really needs to be more into here, but that will fill in. And then we have the apex with the second main branch. And then in here we'll do more padding. And there's another smaller little branch right there that I think can add some more depth. So there you go. So I have some concerns about this tree. Mainly, the roots that were there were healthy, but there wasn't as many as I thought there might be. So I'm a little concerned about that. I chopped off more of the roots than I really wanted on this place over here to fit it into the pot. But there are some positive things. For one, it's a very cloudy, cool morning. Mother Nature has given us a whole bunch of cold days, so none of these shillings have broken dormancy yet, which is imperative when you're doing a root prune like this. And I think as far as the pot and the design and the combination, I think the pot's going to work quite nicely. Of course, we have to imagine the first main branch like out to here, and the second main branch probably not as extensive, but out a little bit more. So there we go. We're having another earthquake because I don't know how to hold the camera straight. So there we go. So thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Subscribe and hit the notification bell, and you'll be able to watch this guy develop even more. And all my trees, I try to keep updates on all my trees best I can. And leave a comment, tell me what you think. So thank you so much for watching. And now I've only got 14 more to go. And I'm not going to get to them this year, I don't think I am. So thanks again for watching, and I will see you in the next video.